Hello everybody, welcome back to another Photoshop tutorial. Today we're going to be back to doing Discord server banners. And this is not the kind of banner that you'd see in the top left corner, which is unlocked after reaching tier 2 of boost, which is 15 boosts for your server. No, this is the kind of banners that you'd find in info channels or announcements, server updates, that sort of thing. This style, as you can probably see, is a fair bit different from what we've done in the past. This embodies some pixel elements, as you can likely see here, with these pixel art styles. And this is just one example of a color you could do. That's red, this is green right here. And while they are small, this is how they appear in an actual server. So you can scale it up if you want to, but I'll get back to that in a second. There are some problems with doing that. But they're perfectly visible. You're not going to see the fine detail with the lines going across because they're small. And this is a mobile view, so it's not terrible. Just keep in mind, on some older devices, this was from a Galaxy S9, so I had a higher screen resolution compared to some older devices, so it showed the images in their natural size. But if you scale that down, it will sometimes blow the images up for smaller screen sizes. So you might see a larger image on your actual device compared to how other people might perceive it. So just keep that in mind, that different screens, different view. So it does look perfectly fine, scale it up if you want to, but not necessary. Most of this will be fine for scaling up because this is just solid colors here and there, and the border as well as a piece going across, and the text of course can be fine at any size. The only thing you're gonna have trouble with is these dots. Now what you could do is something along the lines of this. This is not something I recommend, and go across like that. But that is not the best option, and I cannot recommend you doing that. If you're gonna do this, at that point you might as well just have a line pattern going across the back. So you can just do blending options, pattern overlay, and then just whatever pattern you have, that's lines. But once again, I do not recommend that. I recommend you make these yourself. That's all part of the appeal of this style. So you can see here, it just dot, 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 which is just 4 different pixels, and then Control J all the way in a diagonal fashion. So scaling up, you have to appropriately scale these little cubes to make sure that everything is fine. The easiest way would probably be just to double this, because then instead of 4x4, you're gonna have what's it called, 8x8 or 6x6. You might even want to go less than 8x8 for a double, just because 8x8 is pretty huge. Actually, no, if it was double, it would be 4x4, my bad. I'm not sure what I'm thinking. It would be 4x4 if you doubled it, so that should be fine. Okay, so let's get into the actual making of this banner. Let me close out of these because we do not need them anymore. And quick note, the color schemes here, this top part is always going to be the lightest color. And then these dots and this piece down here is kind of interchangeable. It's going to be between a medium and a darker version of whichever color you choose. So here's light green at the top. This is a medium green, as in between this color up here and this color down there. And the dots are darker green. Here, I did sort of the opposites. I used the darkest for the bottom, the medium for the dots, and the lightest for the top. And that's whatever color you choose, just keep that in mind. So you don't have to be picking out any funky color schemes from online. Just go light, medium, dark. I'll get rid of this one as well. So we're going to start out with file new 334 by 43. It is pretty small as you can see, but it's going to look great, I promise. You're going to want to go ahead and delete this background layer because it's going to be unnecessary. Create this going across. And one thing you want to keep in mind is that our border going outside is going to be 3 pixels in size. So to stroke 3 pixels so we know exactly what we're working with. Hit OK, hit OK. That is a bit too small. There we go. That size perfectly for vertical. Horizontal, I'm going to do something else. Give me 1 second. So clear. And then we're going to make triangles using the pen tool for the horizontal part. So just click here, go out an appropriate distance, and I'm rather content with that. Go down. Oops. Actually better if I did it like that. It's going to be straighter. Yeah. I might actually just do that so the line's going to be straighter. I'm just holding shift while I was going down. Then make selection, and we're going to do that. Shift F5, color bright red, just so we know exactly where this shape is at. Same thing, blending options, we're going to do a stroke of 3 pixels, so we know how much working room we have. In this case, we're going to have to shift the black part a fair bit. Move that over. That's the end there. So here we're going to do Control T and just shift that all the way up till it touches. Clear. Actually, let's not clear that just yet. Control J, Control T, go up here to the top, add a minus to the front of it, and it's going to flip it. And I flipped the wrong thing. My bad. Control J, Control T, flip it with a negative sign. Shift that over here. And that one is too far over, so we need to move it back. But I can go ahead and clear the layer style because I don't need that right now. Control T, move that guy back, hit check mark. And voila, we have our basic shape. So go ahead and merge all these, blending options, and we're gonna go ahead and apply our first color. So color overlay, and I already have it saved. It's gonna be FF4276 for those of you who can't read it. Once again, FF4276. Okay, okay, right click, rasterize layer style, and we are good to go for the base layer. Base layer. So the next part is going to be adding in the parts that go across diagonally. Let's go ahead and do that. First, we're going to start out with the darker piece at the bottom. So let me get these, because we're only going to have 2 more colors that we work with, because this pink layer is all set up for us to go. We're going to go E1, 3, 7, 4, 5. That's going to be our darker red. And then we're going to have our diagonal cut red, which is going to be FF3358. No, I don't have these memorized. I have them typed up in a separate server, Discord server, or channel. If you're curious, I did not take the time to memorize over the color hex values. It was just easier for me to do that instead of spending time here picking the colors. Cool. So our first step is we're going to make our diagonal cut across. So the first one is going to be a little bit above center. So take this, it doesn't matter how you do it, because we're just going to clip it on. Go ahead and create clipping mask. Leo. And that's above center about, yeah. Okay, and then Control J, create clipping mask. This is going to be the dark cut. Small dark cut. Control T, make this a lot thinner. This is going up to about hither. I'm going to bring this down in size. I think 2 pixels should do it, but we can bump it up to 3 if we have to. No, I think I'm content with that. And then this is the fun part. we're going to come over here and we're going to go to our lighter shade. We're going to grab our pencil tool and dot, 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 dot. That wasn't so difficult, was it? And you can see if we bring it over, it is a lighter shade than everything else here. Well, I mean, it's lighter than that, darker than that, so it's going to pop up perfectly fine. And go like that, and Control J. What did I do? I did not hit Control J. Control J. Doopity doop. And I'm going to actually go ahead and group these up so we can easily adjust this, because the idea is for making these is if you make more, you don't have to make it from scratch. You have this template to work from that either you made or you downloaded from here. So we're going to name this diagonal. So it's very simple to change colors if you have to. And I'm going to Control J once again. Control J. I'm going to go all the way down. This is not the most efficient way to do it. I'm sure some of you more experienced Photoshop users are very concerned about my Photoshop abilities, but if you're watching this, then I can't really say much for you. Not a bad thing, I just can't offer you any advice besides don't watch it if you don't like my methods. Cool, and now we have our first diagonal going all the way across, nice little corner touching, all very friendly with one another, all the way down. So that's there. We can actually go ahead and merge this group, diagonal cuts. Give me 1 sec, I need a cough. Still a little sick, not completely cleared up yet. Okay, so now we need to find out a nice distance across for each of these. Let's move this over. And I'm thinking we should go 3 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Control J. 1, 2, 3 pixels. I like that. It's not too close that it's overbearing, but you still get the easy to see pattern shifting across. Let's keep on going with this, and I'll be right back once I finish going all the way across. Okay, so I finished going all the way across, and you may be thinking, hey, that looks a little messy, and I would have to agree with you. There are probably 64 layers, not including the ones that we already have over here of this. So go to the top. Why did it scroll me back to, what is it doing? Stop it. And then hold shift and click down here and merge layers. And that is nice and prettied up now. So shift this over a little bit. Now we have our nice little diagonal going across. And it just occurred to me while I was doing this is, since you can make patterns with Photoshop that are going to save, you just make a pattern of this. And if you scale it up, you could do that. I completely forgot about patterns. I even mentioned patterns saying you could use a line pattern, but it's not going to look good. You can just make a pattern of this and it will scale up for you. I'm not sure because I haven't actually made any patterns myself. I just download whatever patterns I need because I can't be bothered to make a pattern, and I don't use patterns enough to really need to make any special custom patterns for anything. I'm not sure if you're going to have blurred edges for scaling using patterns, but it's definitely worth a shot to do that, so I would recommend trying that out. Okay, so this is now all set up beautifully. And next part is going to be making our little black section going across here. It's going to act as our text, actually diagonal cuts. And the beauty of this is you have one color here, the other 2 darker colors here, and a lighter color here. And you can quickly change the color right there for that one, color right there for that one, blending options, color overlay, and make this any color you want. So if you make more of these from a template, it's a matter of a minute or two to swap everything, if not less, because you just be changing the text, changing the color, and then you save it and you're good to go. That's the beauty of that. Control G, we're going to name this the main section. And I am sort of debating about how I want to do the outside, because if I do the white stroke here and then I rasterize it, all of a sudden this is going to be appearing on that stroke itself. So I could go and delete all of the spots where it's touching, but I'm not sure yet how I want to approach it. So that's going to take a second to figure that out. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and get that text layer set up. So Control G with the new layer, text section. Let's make this violet, black and white. That's the only colors we need now. And let's make this shape right here. I'm going to go Control T. This is going to be diagonal across. Actually, make this a bit bigger. I want a nice-ish angle though, just so it doesn't look completely terrible. Huh. Okay, so let's try this. It's too far. Should be plenty of space to write something in. So hit OK. And then we're gonna do rasterize layer style, rasterize layer. Over here, Control J, get rid of the excess, delete, delete, and we're gonna use clipping mask a bit later. That's there now, and we're gonna drop the opacity. I think that should be fine. And as we can always move that if we have to. Cool. So I'm actually going to move this into the main section just so we have a proper clip. Our name is text shadow. And then here we're going to have the text. It's going to be white. I'm going to use next a bold, and let's just call this rules. This will be our rules channel. Nexa bold, Nexa fonts, Tokyo fonts are my two favorite fonts just because they're both so clean. Just in general, not for this specific project, but just in general use, I really like those two fonts. So this is rules, and then the last part now is a little tricky, and I'm still not quite sure how I want to approach it, so I'm just going to create a quick backup of this. Control J, Control G, make this blue, name this backup, and move that to the bottom. Let's see, so the first part is that, and then we're going to do a stroke inside one white. That's our first order of business. But see, now the problem arises. What happens when you rasterize that? Boom. Hold up. What happened there? Why'd it go? Oh. I was like, why did it become the dot pattern? That's because we have this stuff going on up there. What if I just cut it by 1 pixel in? I don't really want to do this. One pixel cut. Oh, I didn't. Hmm. An annoying part would be the sides, because getting a diagonal cut at the right angle for the white to show up is difficult. Alternatively, what we could do, but I think it's going to be too messy, is we make the sides their own separate layer, separate from this space here. Not sure if I want to do that. Because, yeah, I think cutting this is going to be too much of a pain in the rear to do that. Yeah, so not doing that. I'm going to do Control J. Ooh, what am I doing? Clear layer style, rasterize layer style, delete, deselect, and name this the stroke. I hope this looks okay. Let's see. Did it even work? Oh, wait a second. No, I did it right. Stroke. Give me 1 sec to figure this out. Quick thing, I just realized that I did inside stroke, then I selected everything inside, and I deleted it, so that's why it's not showing up. Yep, it's one of those days. Alright, give me 1 sec while I still figure this out. Okay, I think I got it. So, rasterize layer style, right? Come up here, delete this, deselect, and now we have our removable border. If we do another stroke on the outside, it's not going to get hit both sides of that. So we do white, 1 pixel, and voila, it's near perfect. My excuse is that it's been a year since I did it. And as I mentioned, though I didn't mention, but these are always going to be messy. There's no way to get these cleaned up when working on such a small size. If you zoom out, you can see they look completely, perfectly fine, straight, all of that. So if you see this here, don't worry about it. Don't let it stress you. It's going to be fine. If you zoom into any image at that kind of small size, it's going to look a little messy, and that's completely normal. Don't let it stress you. As you can see at this size here, this looks fantastic. I'm just going to name this just stroke, real quick, stroke, edge, and that is fine. So the next step is you just do this, highlight all of that, edit, copy merged, file, new, create, Control V, delete the backgrounds, and now you can save from there, or you could save from here, but kind of my go-to, to be honest with you, to save stuff. Doesn't really matter. And you can either do export, save for web, or save as, but either way, you can save either of those options. Saving for web or exporting it for web is going to compress it a bit, but if you really need to compress it, I recommend using compresspng.com or tinypng. Compressed PNG I found to be better, reason being tinypng limits you to 5 megabytes, I think it is. So if you have anything above that, go to compressed PNG and it's going to be a lot better for you. Okay, so I'm going to upload these tutorials on how to do this. Not tutorials, I mean a template. I'm going to upload the template to the Google Drive. It is a rough start to the morning. I'll upload this to the drive. I'll get this uploaded to YouTube, and hopefully you all enjoy this tutorial. I'm going to have another tutorial on the screen for another banner style, just in case you kind of like this one or you want to try something else. That's going to be on the screen. It's more traditional to what you'd see in my own Discord server. So I hope you all enjoyed watching and have an amazing day.